Welcome back, everybody. My name's Am Apratos 54, aka Adam, coach in the Mid-Chesney Park Slowpokes, and today I bring you my draft analysis for the Naranja Division of UNPL Season 3. I was pick number 4. We get 115 points to draft 10 to 12 Pokemon. We get a separate budget at the end of draft for Terra Captains of 18 points. You can have 1 to 3 captains. They cannot exceed 18 points. They get 1 stab and 2 of anything they want. But this league's a little differently. We are playing at level 100. Last Respects, Shed Tail, and Revival Blessing are banned. I believe the only other abilities banned are Moody and the evasion abilities, as well as the items. And there is no item clause, so we can run whatever we want as long as we don't bring Bright Powder, Lax Incense, and I can't remember Quick Claw and King's Rock are banned. I'd have to double check that. But without further ado, I decided to start round 1 off with a curveball. There were several broken mon on the board, even though this was a 12-man draft. I decided on round 1 Mew. Mew got every TM back from the DLC. Granted, it lost its recovery, but that's fine. No soft boiled, no recover, so on and so forth. But Mew also now has access to Vacuum Wave, Scald, Poltergeist, Knockoff, Super Fang again, with combination with Will-O-Wisp. You can be a Stall Breaker Mew, which is really good. And then you're able to run Rest Sleep Talk sets with this mon, and just have a lot of recovery. I believe it gets every hazard except for Sticky Webs, which is phenomenal as support for a team. Overall, 16 points for this mon was a very good value, and I will take it. Next, and I look forward to using Mew and seeing what it can do. Sorry, I had to take a drink there. Sorry for the pause. But 16 points for Mew is really good in my opinion for something that has base 100 and all stats. Plus Synchronize can punish my opponents. Say they go for a T-Wave, now they're T-Waved as well. They go for Toxic, well now they're Toxic. Oh, Mew also got Toxic back, which is incredibly good. This being able to Sword, Stance, Nasty Plot, Calm Mind, Agility is rather good. Gets both light screens. Mew is basically a toolbox for a pure Psychic type. This thing can set up on its own in end games, especially with the priority it gets, which is really good. Second overall, I took Walking Wake. Why this was still there, I don't know. But being Water Dragon, times 4 resist to water, it's amazing. Times 4 resist to fire, neutral to grass, neutral to electric, weak to fairy and freeze dry, and opposing dragons is really good for it. 109 speed is really clutch, especially if I opt to do Sun. I can boost her speed if I just take some of the special attack off. And if I keep pure special attack, I get boosted in special attack and Sun. So it's going to be interesting. And the thing with Paradox Mons, if the stat is the same in both speed and special attack, for example, it'll always go with the most inherent stat, which would be the special attack, if both are the same at level 100. So if I go Timid, Max, it becomes 177 at level 50, and it would choose special attack. This gained access to Scald, gained access to Flip Turn, gained access to Knockoff, which is incredibly good. Granted, it was good before, but now I think it pushes it above the threshold because now you can run Dragon Dance with knockoff and just go ham on teams. And there's a way to boost your energy attack with this mod, which is absolutely insane. Paired with Dragon Dance, that's +2 attack, and now you have a way to hit dark types. Granted, you don't have a actual way to hit fairies super effectively or steals, besides Fire Fang for steel, but I do not believe I get a poison or steel type move to hit fairies. That is the only drawback with this mon, so it needs to have its raw damage output to hit things. Next, we have Great Tusk. Why this was still sitting there round 3, I have no idea. But this thing hits like a truck. This gets Rapid Spin, this gets South Rocks, this gets Coverage galore. And it's absolutely amazing with its base 131 attack and defense. And its par with its HP can just be a defensive wall with Assault Vest, even though it's 853 SPDF. Granted, it's not the complete wall, but you get what I'm saying. And base 87 speed is nice. If you remove the attack IVs and run everything into speed and run Jolly Nature, you can actually get a speed boost in Sun. Pair that with Bulk Up now, and you're hammering away. And you outspeed everything, which is really good without having to rely on Rapid Spin. This is an excellent boots mod. Spin, they need a ghost type to block it, which is incredibly good. And most ghost types do not want to switch on this mon because it gets a knockoff. So it can plaster opposing teams, which is really good. And I can't wait to use this mon again. And I still can't believe it was sitting there round 3, because I was towards the other end of the wheel. Next, we've got round 4 Diancie. I wanted a spike setter, I wanted a rock setter, I wanted bulk. This was the round that everybody and their mama was taking fairies. Well, why not grab this one over Hatterene? Because I have a spinner. I have ways of getting rid of the hazards. I don't need magic bounce. Granted, I'm looking pretty weak to, what is it, fairy right now. That's fine. The end team will make up for that in hindsight. But this being base 50 speed and access to Trick Room, access to Calm Mind, Iron Defense, both physical and special stab, and its typing plus earth power is really good. This mon was 16. Sorry, this one was 10 points. Wake was 16. Great Tusk was 17. Diancie is 10. So that's incredibly good. This mon will do its job, get the bulk I need, and just be able to hammer away at things with its base 100 offenses. It's gonna be really, really good. Look forward to using this mon. Granted, it's not Terra this time, unfortunately, but hey, we'll see what we can do without the queen having a crown. She misses her crown, though. Next, we have Ninetales. Yes, I know. I could have taken Torkoal. It was still on the board. Torkoal is still on the board post-draft. Spoiler alert. I can still upgrade this because Ninetales was 11. I believe Torkoal was 12 if I decide to make that decision. But I like the speed on Ninetales better. And it gets access to moves like Will-O-Wisp, Hex, gets access to Shadow Ball, Nasty Plot, Fire Spin, gets access to Nightshade, which is guaranteed 100 damage if we were playing at level 100, which is really good. Actually, did we play our week 1 at level 100? Huh. I can't remember. But yeah, being able to do constant residual damage is nice. And just being able to trap. This also gets flash fire, which makes me immune to fire. And this also gets drought, which to me is kind of better than having Torkoal with just drought. I think it's white smoke and one other ability. But having the fire immunity is nice, especially with the mons I currently have. That and this just does its job. It's kind of lacking in HP attack and defense and kind of special attack, but with access to Nasty Plot and Calm Mind, that makes up for it. And who doesn't want a fast solar beam on a Sunsetter? I'll make it work. But yeah, that is my Sunsetter to go with Tusk and Walking Wake. Next, we have Vikavolt. The Mon I had to resist making a Terra Captain so much. Because 12 point or lower could be Terra Captains. And, oh, this thing would have hit like a truck. This is my bulky web setter with 145 special attack. Granted, I wish this Mon got Quiver Dance, but it did maintain agility. And max speed agility outpaces Chien-Pao and Fluttermane by 2 points, which is incredibly good, especially if you want to hammer them away. And if they don't predict you to be faster than you, you can just pick them off, which is really, really good. This gets access to Mud Shot as ground damage, Flash Cannon for fairies. Just the right amount of coverage it needs, plus the webs to just make people have a bad day. And it can just Volt Switch out to avoid being killed. Momentum is always nice, especially for a team like this. So at the moment I have 3 forms of Momentum, technically 4 if you count Healing Wish on Ninetales and Memento, which is really good. But yeah, that is Vikavolt. I look forward to using it. I'm so glad it's back. The Mon puts in absolute work. Next, we have my first Terra Captain in Victory Bell. Vikavolt was 11 points, Victory Belt was 10. My music cut off, hold on. And 1 second, I need to find the Terra Captains again for... I have Terra, Grass, Fire, and Fairy on this. Fairy is to be able to hit Dragon types, Dark types, pretty super effectively, and Fighting types. Fire is to hit the Steel types, get a Weather Ball boosted Stab Fire move, and Grass is just to remove my weakness to ground, basically. And then I remove my weakness to Psychic as well, and I can punch over the top of it. This gets access to Growth, Swords Dance, gets access to Knockoff and Sucker Punch now, which is incredibly good. Having priority on this Mon to be in and out of Sun is really good. Granted, it's not shifty levels of good, but I can make do with it. But overall, even though it's base 70 speed and kind of frail in its defenses, the 105 attack and the 100 special attack in Sun make up for it because that'll double its speed, and I can be incredibly offensive with the Life Orb. I look forward to using Victory Bell, and I hope I can do it justice as a Terra Captain. But yeah, that Mon's 10 points, first of my 3 Terra Captains, which you'll see soon what the other ones are. Next, we have Dusknoir, my second Terra Captain. This Mon's only 6 points. But boy, is this thing bulky, and that 100 attack still hits harder than you think it does. Granted, the HP is incredibly low. This mon still chews hits. This is Terra Ghost, Water, and Fairy. Fairy is for opposing dark types that want to pick me off with priority, especially in Trick Room. Water is just to be a bulky boy and counteract fire types in the sun. And Ghost is just to have a boosted Poltergeist. This thing can function in Trick Room. This thing can function outside of Trick Room just by its bulk alone. And the good thing about this mon this gen is it gained Leech Life. It now has an attacking move that heals HP. Granted, I wish it was Drain Punch too, so you can have a Punch Glove boosted move. But being able to hit dark types with Leech Life, get all your attack back, and resist with the Terra Fairy or Water is absolutely amazing. And then the dark type just drops. Say, for example, I'm facing a mon like Shiftry, which is ×4 weak to bug, or Wu Chen. Leech Life from this thing drops them instantly. And I get all the health back, which is amazing. This gets access to Will-O-Wisp, Paint Split, Trick Room, gets access to Trick, and most importantly, Pressure is so good in this meta, especially for moves like Fire Blast, I believe Draco Meteors, 8 PP, Hydro Pumps, 8 HP. Just being able to take all of that PP away just by simply clicking Protect in front of something like Iron Bundle that has to go for the Hydro Pump, takes 2 every time, is really good. Frisk allows me to scout for items. I can see what you have. Granted, Frisk is a better ability to have in a league that has item clause. It's still really good to have. But this is my bulky defensive Dusknoir. And the good thing about this is this also gets Curse. If I'm not Terra, Curse now does +1 attack, +1 defense, -1 speed, allowing this thing to set up on its own, which is really good. You set up, then you click Trick Room, and now you outpace everything in front of you, and you just keep hammering away. That is really nasty. But yeah, that's 6-point Dusknoir. Next, we have my boy Bisharp. I wanted to make this a Terra Captain originally, but then I saw Victory Bell and I was like, fuck it, we ball. But this thing having 125 attack, 100 defense, and base 70 speed, and 65 HP, and access to Eviolite is incredibly good. This also gets access to pressure, so I can mediate your PP. Granted, this team's not going to intentionally try and PP stall, but if I need to remove your low PP moves, especially your Roosts, I can run pressure and I can make pretty much Corviknight lose all of its PP by clicking Roost, because that only gets 8 this gen. That is incredibly valuable. But this also has access to Defiant. If you lower my stats due to webs or move, I gain +2 attack. This gets access to Sword Stance and Sucker Punch. There are times where getting to +4 with Sucker Punch can end games. And then you run moves like Iron Head, Brick Break, Stone Edge, and if you just outpace them in webs, Bisharp just goes ham. You can slightly speed buff it to where it outpaces things after webs, run bulk, Eviolite, and just call it a day, and just hammer away. Bisharp is a very, very fun mon, and I'm glad I was able to draft it because I believe King Gambit went undrafted in our league. which is incredibly weird. I'd have to double check that. I know it went undrafted in one of them. But next, we have Tauros. I have access to Intimidate, Anger Point, and Steer Force. That attack stat is impressive for a base 110 Mon. Slap a Life Orb on this. Body Slam hits like a metric freight train. So does Zen Headbutt, Iron Head, Rock Slide. It gets, which is incredibly good. Granted, Earthquake isn't boosted, but Bulldoze is. And it's the same power, is really weird. But you have to avoid taking Life Orb damage by doing Bulldoze, because Sheer Force cancels it out. But the speed on this is the tipping point. 110 speed is that comfort spot. Granted, there's a few Mons in this game that still outspeed. But being able to outpace all of the weather setters, including like Mons like Alolan's Ninetales for one, and just being able to blow it back with Iron Head is amazing. That means no Aura Veil gets up. This is, I believe, my fastest Mon on the team. Which is incredibly interesting. This is another Mon I had to resist making a Terra Captain. But it is what it is. I wanted to do Victory Bell. Granted, I could change my mind and make this a Captain along with Dusknoir and Bisharp at some point and still be within the 18. Actually, no, I'll be over. But if I ever wanted to go down to 2 captains, I would do Tauros and probably Vikavolt at some point. But I don't think I'll realistically have to do that throughout the season. But yeah, Tauros hits incredibly hard, and I just need it as a breaker. That's its job, even though it has kind of piss poor defenses. Oh, and Sheer Force boosted Ice Beam. If you do 60 invest, it's enough to one-hit KO Torterra and Garchomp with a Life Orb, which is absolutely insane. It forces Garchomp and Torterra to run Spadef Invest. And if they run Spadef Invest, for example, they're slower. That is really good. And last but not least, my final Terra Captain is Ice-Q. Well, Ice-Q, you're going to have a lot of fun because you are Terra Ice, Fire, and Electric. It's base 50 speed when it's got its head on, but if you break its ice face, it becomes base 130 speed, and it just hammers away. This is access to Belly Drum. This gained access to Flip Turn and Icicle Spear again, which is incredibly amazing. And I cannot wait to use this Mon. That base 100 defense and base 90 Spadef when it's in its Ice Face form is absolutely really good. Granted, Mold Breaker cancels the Ice Face out, so it absolutely bops me. But that base 80 attack at +6 with Icicle Spear, access to Iron Head, Zen Headbutt, Liquidation, Body Slam, Double Edge, and Head Smash is really good. It has just the right amount of coverage it needs. And then with Terra Blast being fire, it can hit the steel types that oppose it. Terra Electric will one-shot all the ground types. And unless they are water absorb, the Liquidation can bop them. But if they resist ice, well, I have Liquidation on that. So overall, this has the stab it needs, and for a 2-point Terra Captain, I hope to put in work with this thing. And hopefully you guys enjoy the team. Tell me what you think down below, and like and subscribe if you haven't. And enjoy.